and you are in session 2.
Okay, so
Yes.
I share my screen and then get started.
Now let me introduce you about you, and then you
Okay,
can.
sure. Can I project
Yes.
my Can I project my screen meanwhile?
Yes. Yes. Please proceed. Yes. Today we are here with Sri Ajay Kumar Barun. He is from Microsoft. He is going to talk about introduction to infrastructure as a service, software as a service, platform as a service, how the way Microsoft is using. And Ajay Kumar Barun is a senior cloud solution architect with Microsoft, a career spanning more than 20 years, working with IT majors like Amazon Web Services, Oracle, and other across multiple roles, architecting application in cloud, adoption of public cloud, develop and drive the technology adoption and mapping technology to solve business challenges, etc. With this brief introduction, I request Sri Ajay Kumar Barun to take over the session. Over to you, Arun, and you can proceed.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. First of all, good morning to everyone, and it's a privilege to interact and share some information with you all. What I would suggest is like during the session, let's if you have any questions, please do raise your hand. We can make it more interactive rather than one way I keep delivering the session. Right. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. I would love to get the question cleared. Right. The session which we're going to, means the talk which we have here is it's introduction to uh, fundamentals of what is infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. Right. So let's get started with it. Right. So what we're going to talk today is the cloud and what business value you can derive from that cloud to solve particular challenges into your specific area where you're going to work on, right? So the first question comes, what is cloud, right? I understand most of you would have been at least read something about it, that what is a cloud. So in simple terms, a cloud uh, is like practice of storing regularly used data, right? Used into your desktop, laptops, right? And then that is being stored somewhere in server format, and that you are able to access it throughout across the world through internet, right? That's the one of the definitions how we say cloud. So it's a cloud computing basically. You're storing your server not into your laptop or desktop, somewhere in the server, and irrespective of your location, whether in your office, whether you are say for example working from home, you're going to another country, and you're able to access that through internet. So internet is a medium through which you are able to access. That's the in simpler terms, that's a cloud, right? But what actually it is doing, right? uh, it's basically giving you an opportunity to transform the way businesses are being done, right? Think of this today's COVID world. Most of the, at least I can talk about the IT companies, right? And even the government, right? Most of the time, when this lockdown started, right, there was no access to office, right? Everyone started looking an opportunity, option that how I can work from my home and still the business continues. And cloud really helped in a lot of ways through which things were transformed. You would have seen is I got some notification. Okay, that's fine. So think of this like most of the India is a hub for a lot of BPO operations, right? Where they do a lot of knowledge processing and then help most of the world, right? And these people had to go into the offices in order to serve their customers. Now, when this lockdown started, everybody started working home, and one of the solutions which most of the companies, started using is how I can remotely connect to a desktop which is there in your office, right? And I still work. I can access all those files and everything, and that's where the cloud made a difference. So in today's time, most of the companies, right, they are trying to do their regular work. One of the mediums, right, and deliver their work. And this is again, a majority of them is being driven with the cloud world, because suddenly there was a spike in computing needs, and cloud was one which actually helped, right? So cloud, you think cloud as really a powerful way of transforming your businesses, right? Rather than just only knowing it's a computer where we can store data and then access through the internet. So it's a very powerful tool you have in your hand, which you can leverage it, in order to change the businesses, right? That's the power of cloud you get, right? So if you see this as of yesterday, when I say yesterday, till now, right? Uh, when we talk about and frame that what is cloud, right? And right, and see, yesterday we were limited with the number of tools and vendors, right? You had one platform and few devices which you can operate, and you had full control, right? Say for example, you had office where you had 10 computers and only few people can come and work, and you had a very strict rules like these people with this profile can only access computer. But the world is changing right now. Everybody wants to have an access to the computer. Right. You had one platform, right, with few devices. Data was small, right? Because since everybody was not using those computers, data was small and it was manageable. It can be managed. It was in few GBs, right? And if you think of today's world, it's petabytes, right? So of information we talk about, right? IT has major, because it was very premium thing, right? Everybody doesn't have didn't have laptops or desktop with them access it. So it was a premium, and it has major influence and control. And people used to only use computers when they used to go to work. Now the world has changed. You have computers across families, right? More than one computer in even the house, right? So that was yesterday. But you think of today,
Sorry to interrupt you, Arun.
yeah,
Is there any noise from your side or some other participants? Some kids are making your side?
yeah, probably there could be some little noise from kids who they are in
No, no,
another.
no. I thought from some other participant. No issues. No issues.
My bad. Yeah, so it's a home, working from home, right? So you get those carry things with you, right? So in today's time, right, things have changed now, right? You have many tools. You got multiple vendors with whom you start working nowadays. You have multiple platform to support, right? You have to support mobile devices, how you access mobile. You need to make sure that is the data on mobile is safe and secure, right? And then you have tremendous amount of data, right? The data being generated with the mobile device, data being generated with the PDAs, with computer, right? So multiple devices, so you got abundance of data, and you need to think how you're going to manage that data, right? Earlier I used to remember that you got a data center, and that data center has a storage capacity of say for example few terabytes. So if you have if you exhaust your those terabytes of data, then you are left with you need to make a procurement request and then get those additional storage. But today's the amount of data you don't think of storage, because now you get something called unlimited storage, right, where you can store your data into cloud and you keep just dumping your data. There's no end limit to it. uh, right, IT has limited influence and control, because business comes priority first today, and people work from anywhere, right? You would have now started hearing stories, and it's a good business model for a lot of companies, right? With this COVID lockdown started, a lot of people, right, who are living into metropolitan cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, right? So they were running on rentals. When lockdown started, they started getting communication that you can work from home. So a lot of people, they started going to places like Shimla and other hilly areas, and the cottage providers, they started also making such spaces where they can provide you good internet connectivity and you can work from there, right? So people started moving to these places and started working from there, right? Because physically they don't have to go to office, so they can work from anywhere they want, right? So that's again a trend you would have started seeing into the cities. So today, as of today, people can work from anywhere. Like in today's world, you see that I'm not in my office, I'm at a home and I'm working from home. So most of you might be also working from your home offices, right? So the world has changed. So as of today, the business has to the company has to have an infrastructure which can support that you can work from anywhere, and at the same time you're safe and secure, right? That's that value, where are you going to get from, right? Right. So few of the users, right? So that's like what you see in today's world, and how cloud is catering those things, right? So if you talk about these are again limited sets, right? You can think of much more ideas where cloud can be used, right? So these are few use cases I'm going to talk about, but it is not limited to this. It's a very vast area, right? Uh, you can create new application and digital services, right? Within the cloud. One of the examples you can think of is like during when COVID started, right? We didn't have an app in the country which can actually tell how many people are infected with COVID, for example. And then you saw Arogya Setu, right, which was developed. And this application, when it was developed, nobody had an idea how many people are going to use that, right? What is going to be the adoption? um, and think of a traditional data center environment. You would have a head who's managing that data center. He would have given a projection based on India's population. If this much percentage of people are going to use this application, this is the infrastructure we need. And you think of what is the bill of material should be, right? So much servers to be procured, connected, wired, made ready, and on the day one, you never know how many people are going to. It could be like million of people just downloading and accessing that application. So nobody has a clue. So if you think of the traditional old way of working, it would have been really a long journey for the government to first get that infrastructure up and running, make security check, make sure that there are enough people to manage that, and then make that application up and running. But see, it runs in the cloud, right? And the developers were everywhere in the India. So when Arabic City was developed, it was a consortium of people who developed it. It's not one person, and they work from different locations within the country, and they were able to develop that. So the cloud gives you that flexibility that you can be distributed across different places, but you can collaborate together to create one application, right? It gives you faster way to develop those application, fail fast. You have an idea, you don't want, it's not working, you shut down that machine and then start up another machine. So that gives you one of the ways you leverage cloud. Second, you store, backup and recover data, right? uh, this is one of the important things because, say, for example, any electronic device, right? Any component, electronic part can go wrong anytime, right? Although you have SLAs that if this fails, then we can replace it, but failure is bound to happen. It's an electronic chip. Something is going to go wrong sometime, right? So you need to have a mechanism through which how you can plan your application that in case something goes wrong, I'm still highly available, right? You need that's we need to design in our application. And if something goes wrong, I should be able to recover that data and get the business again up and running, right? Now, there could be multiple SLAs for it. You can design those SLAs and other things. So cloud gives you an ability where you can fail fast. Sorry, not fail fast. And at the same time, if you have a failure, you can recover back faster. Why? Because you have enough ways to store your data, back up your data, and once you back up data, it makes sure that the data is distributed across multiple computers. It's safe and secure, so that even any of the part of the component fails, computer fails, it's not working. It does not happen that I lose the data. I always get the data back. Right? It gives you concepts like 11 nines of durability. You think of that, like that means you have written data into cloud, you're not going to lose it. You'll get it back anyway, right? Today we talk about a lot of things on artificial intelligence, right? Things like a pattern matching type of a thing, right? So, for example, I want to think. Let's take a commercial example. You are in a store. You go to a retail store like Shoppers Stop or Reliance Store or any shopping mall, right? You go get inside the store and you see a lot of items kept, right? And then people come and buy. So what does these retails do is they see the buying pattern of people, and they see that which is the product getting consumed more, so that they take those products and they keep it onto the shelves, so that when the customers enter that place, they first see that. Why? Because that's more demanding application. Now, in order to get that information, like which is the most relevant product, which we should keep. So there are a lot of machine learning algorithms which are being, machine learning models which being created. Now, in order to create those models, one, you need immense amount of processing power and an ability to store that data. Now, cloud gives you a very a place where you can get compute which you need, and these machine learning requires special type of compute power like GPUs, right? So you get in cloud, you get a flexibility to choose how much cloud compute you need, how much you want to run, and you don't have to buy that hardware. See, in a traditional way, what you used to do is that if I want to use something, I need to buy and keep it in my data centers, put a power on, and then keep it running for a long time. But in cloud, I do not do that. I need for 1 hour. So I take the best machine, run it for 1 hour, and then switch it off. So I pay only for the time I use. Pay what you use for, right? So this artificial type of intelligence type of this, they require specialized compute power, and then also how much compute I need for a specific period of time I consume and then close it. Cloud is excellent place where you do a lot of artificial intelligence and develop models, make sure that how you can serve your businesses very well. I give you an example of a retail store. So a lot of models, you get data, telemetry data, you take that data and then you pass it, and then model gives you, okay, based on these many people who came and visited, they like this particular product, so you should have something similar product, right? So it gives you those type of forecasting you can use. So artificial intelligence is, I give you one area, but application of artificial intelligence is in all the places, whether you talk about agriculture, you talk about retail, you talk about manufacturing. So artificial intelligence plays a very important role in all these areas. Next is still 5 6 7 years back, if you talk about people had concerns that if I take my data, so something like this, if I'm the CIO of the company and I was running a data center, so, storage, computers, security software. So I used to buy all this, and I used to have a few 5 to 6 people who used to manage that data center. And then I used to think as a CIO that, okay, this is the most secure place I can have. My data is not going to get stolen by anybody or not going to get compromised with anybody, right? So as a company, as a CTO, I have a budget, right? In that budget, I have to manage my security. I have to manage my, power, cooling, physical security guards, right? And then, bright talents who's going to run that data center so that I do not have a downtime, right? Patching is my responsibility. So multiple things, right? As a CTO, I have to do that work. And uh, and manage my make sure that my data center is up and running. Now think this way. This is my small team, right? I got a limited budget. Now there could be a lot of sophisticated attacks which can come, right? Might be my one tool, firewall and other is not able to take care of that. Now think of cloud is probably, my data center has 1000 machines. Cloud is millions of machines, and this millions of machines is running not only in one place, it is running across the globe, across the countries, right? Now if I need to secure that data center, means I'll require multiple level of firewalls, multiple level of security systems in place, and then a very stringent policies, right, across the globe, in order to make sure that my data is protected into that data center, right? Then third, other part is that I also, there are a lot of compliances, right? Country A compliance, country B compliance, country three. I need to certify my those compliances. Then only those countries like India has its own compliances. If I don't comply, then people are not going to put their data, applications and data into the cloud. So as a uh, uh, cloud provider goes through multiple certifications, multiple security, right? Whereas as a CTO of that data center example, which I gave you in just now, is I'm limited to my business needs. My company works in financial, so I only take care of financial part, right? And I'll think all the security from financial part. And again, I'm limited with my budgets. I can't have everything done into use budget, right? So this gives me, I'm limited, but cloud gives me a security posture which is across the industry. So they would have thought multiple things. So definitely, if I take my workload and put it into cloud, it's much, much more secure than what actually I'm securing it on my on-premise. Because in on-premise, I'm limited with number of people. There is thousands of software engineers or thousands of security professionals only doing work in order to secure the data onto the cloud. So you can think of like one brain working against 1,000 brains, right? So definitely cloud is much, much more secure. And you talk about all the compliances, all the certifications, you get everything what you want into the cloud, right? So your data is much, much safer, secure into a cloud world, right? Then you unlock the potential of connecting devices, right? This cloud gives you ability that you can run workloads, and your workloads can run into multiple devices. Think of Netflix or Amazon Prime, or think of IPL, right? Hotstar. You're watching most of majority of the people watches their content onto a mobile phone or a PDA. Less people watch it on even desktops or in the television, right? So the way you are unlocking, the viewing experience in this case, right? And cloud plays a very important role. A lot of technology is working in behind in order to serve you that data which you are seeing onto your mobile phone, even content streaming, right? So cloud gives you that potentials that, if I'm in a good network, I get a very nice, HD quality. But if I'm not in a very good network, I'm, say for example, some place away, I might not get so much good connectivity. Then I'm getting a picture which is little bit blurred. It's not the HD quality picture. So with cloud, I can think of those use cases, that how I can serve my content to different devices, right? And then there are a lot of analytical tools which you can think of, right? You think of, you got store the data, now you want to get insights from that data, right? For example, take the example of that store, right? People are coming into the data center. Give me one sec. I'll just tell my kids little bit to be silent. I'll just ask them. One sec. I'm sorry. Back here. I just requested my kids not to shout little bit lower their sounds, right? So coming back here, analyze your data. So cloud gives you a lot of tools, like if you have heard things like Hadoop, ETL, tools like machine learning, right? So everything is possible, right? Into cloud, it gives you enough power which you need to process the data and then put it into a visualization type of a tool. So what are the benefits of cloud, right? One, it gives you, right, time, confidence, and performance. So I'll cover one by one, right? Um, one of the benefits you get in cloud is you can get new servers, right? New compute resources in minutes as opposed to months. With something like Azure Virtual Machine in a cloud, right? You can spin up a server within some minutes, right? Uh, think of your IT departments, right? You give a request that I need a new server. So typically what we have seen that it goes when you give a request, it goes to the procurement IT, they'll make an estimate, then they'll put a finance approval into it, and once it is approved, then they are going to place the order with a vendor, and then the vendor is going to deliver the hardware. Then once you get the hardware, you need to rack and stack it up, put a power, make that computer workable, and then you start using it. So it's a huge time, right? So traditionally it has been seen like it takes from 1 to 6 months even, right? And if your company is very fast, even agile in those terms, still at least 2 to 3 weeks time is still required in order to get that. But with cloud, you get in minutes, right? You spin up and it's ready and you start using it, right? Second is you can think of global businesses now, right? Today, if you think like traditional, again, just try to compare the traditional even. Say you want to start a company, so what you'll do, you need to put up an application. You are going to buy some servers and some data center, and then you're going to put it to your machines there, or you're going to rent some machines somewhere. Right? Once you do that, you're limited. You're not global in scale, right? But if you want to go global, then cloud is the only way to go global, right? Because cloud will have the presence. Like for example, Azure has presence in, it has 60 plus regions across the world. So, and these all regions are connected with each other. So if you got an application in one, say for example in India, you can make an extension of that application in US, Europe, wherever you want. And then your content is being served. Your application is available to everybody into the globe, right? You go global very fast. You get your database. Database is the place where you store your data. and then you want that data to be there in Europe or in Japan or in Hong Kong or Singapore, you can replicate your data within the cloud. So it's very fast, right? You don't need to take much days to do that. It can be done in hours, right? So that you save time. Then you reduce your time consuming IT. How you're going to manage it. So reduce the amount of time being spent doing manually monitor, right? You're doing now everything automated, so it becomes very easy for you to get a visibility that how my resources are performing across the globe, right? You get those uh, dashboard view through monitoring tool, automated monitoring tools. So and you can decide like, okay, if say for example I don't have customer base right now in Hong Kong or in any part of the world, then what I can do is I can shut down or I can scale down my resources so that I don't spend more money, because those money can be used somewhere else for my business, right? Second is confidence. So once you gain on time, then you need to you need to have confidence. The confidence is like you want to know that when you put your business into the cloud, is it always available, or I'm going to lose my data, my business will have interruptions, right? So cloud gives you that confidence that you can you can have SLAs, right? You want 3.9 SLA or 4.9 SLA, you can design your application in such a way that you achieve that SLA. That means depending upon your business, you can construct your application, you can design your application, and then be very resilient on uh, the business model you want to run. And cloud gives you all the tools. Like for example, in Microsoft Azure, you get tools like Azure Site Recovery, right? What it says is you can be, it is going to take care of your business continuity needs, right? Site recovery will allow you to replicate all your business so that if something happens, you still continue to work with your business without any loss of time or money, right? Then you mitigate risk with cloud security monitoring and compliance and certification, right? So we give you all the artifacts which is needed in order to make sure that you're complied with the local business laws, right? uh, and then that gives you a confidence, right, that you can run your business into the cloud much faster, much safer, uh, right? And whenever there is a compliance or an audit, you are able to perform those compliance and audit certifications, right? Plus, cloud gives you an ability to choose where you want to run your business. Do you want to run your business in India? You want to run your business in China? You want to run in Europe? You want to run in Japan, Australia, wherever you want to run your business. Cloud gives you that option that you can choose the region. A region is basically a location where the data centers are made and you can access those data center services. Then definitely performance is very important. You want to know that you are investing your time and confidence into a platform that's performing better than you can do it yourself, right? I give you an example of a CTO managing the data center with limited resources, limited budget, right? This CTO will be also interested that, can I come out of what I'm doing right now? See, most of the CTOs are more busy with doing how much is my power cooling, right? How much is my real estate money I'm paying to the vendors? How much I'm paying to various software vendors through which I'm using those softwares, right? In order to run my data center. So most of the time he's more into contract negotiation uh, and keeping the cost down. Why? Because he got a pressure from the business CFO that your IT budget is shooting up. You should, control it. and then he's always behind people, how I can reduce my cost. He's going to go into negotiation contract. So most of the time he's busy in doing the work which is to run that particular data center, and how he can reduce the cost. Very minimum amount of time he's actually thinking how he can use the technology to enhance the business, right? He is not thinking because he's 70% occupied into operational work. He's not able to think that which technology I can use which can ease my business processes, how technology can ease the business processes, which in turn delights the customer, helps the customer, and brings more customers onto the platform, which ultimately increases the business opportunity for the company, right? So with cloud, right, he gets that liberty. He gets that time that now he can invest. He doesn't have to take care of operational work, because that is cloud provider is giving him, right? And then he leverages all the benefits of cloud and contributes much better to the business, right? So definitely engage with your customers with more human touch, like machine learning and artificial intelligence. You can think of those type of workload. Now this CTO can think in this direction, that how I can enhance my business, right? Stay current with latest up-to-date advancements in IT. So he is getting always latest from the cloud, because cloud is the company which is refreshing itself. Every 2 years there's a new processor, there's a new virtual machine. Think of the old CTO. He has to still run his if he has bought a server, he has to run minimum of 5 to 7 years in order to get complete value of it. So he cannot, every now and then he cannot get a new latest generation machine in the cloud, in the data center. But in cloud, he get an access to it, because he's paying for what he's using, and then he gets a catalog of machines to choose from it, right? Which should I use Intel processor? Should I use AMD processor? Which is best for my workload? If I'm doing machine learning, which GPU should I use? Because that gives me much better, running my machine learning workloads, right? And then simplify your device with pre-configured IoT solutions. So think of the solutions. Now, think of our country, India, right? You would have seen that the Prime Minister is, government of India is really working hard and coming up with things like how cloud can, how not means not specific cloud, how technology can help the farmers to increase their yield, right? How artificial intelligence can improve the agriculture, right? How sowing can be improved, how when the crop, how to make prediction of the crop, that when it is being sown and when it grows, what diseases can happen, what machine learning algorithms can be put in, that if this is a pattern of a disease coming, how we can, which fertilizers to put. So there's a lot of work going into it. So basically and all these, like, the small devices which comes, they're all IoT part. IoT is basically Internet of Things, right? Which says that you can have multiple devices, hardware devices, they emit a lot of data. How you can collect that data and make intelligent decisions, right? Think of like putting a water sprinkler into a farm field, how much time this water sprinkler should run, right? And then stop, so that it is not over watering the crop, right? So those type of things can be thought of. Like the IoT has a huge lot play. Cloud providers like Microsoft Azure gives you amazing platform to build use cases and serve those use cases into IoT world itself. Right. Now let's come to so now you understand, like, at least some understanding of what is cloud, what benefits cloud can give over the traditional world, right? Now let's come to what is IaaS, right? What is infrastructure as a service, right? So if you go through it, So infrastructure as a service is an instant computing infrastructure provisioned and managed over internet, right? Uh, when you say computing infrastructure, could be a virtual machine. So what is a virtual machine? Basically, it's something like this: a laptop of yours, where you're when you start, you get Windows operating system running or any other operating system, and then you start working. So think virtual computing infrastructure is like this: a laptop type of a machine which is getting provisioned in the cloud, and you get a screen where you can start working into it. Okay. It is one of the four types of cloud services. So, right, along with software as a service or platform as a service. And there's one more called serverless. I'll cover that also, but we didn't have that into agenda written, right? Uh, what actually it is that? So, think of it like an electricity, right? What are you doing today? Your houses. Um, I get inside my room, I switch on the light, and the light bulbs in, right? The tube light starts. I stay in the room for 1 hour, right? And the light continues running for 1 hour. And when I'm going out of the room, I stop that light, right? For the electricity company, right? I'm going to pay only the electricity charges when I entered the room and when I exited the room, because I switched on and switched off. Although the electricity was available in my house 24 by 7, right? So similar is your infrastructure as a service. You switch on a particular virtual machine, you use it the time you want, and then you switch it off, right? You only pay for the time you have switched on and switched off. So pay for what you means how much you run it, and then you pay for it. That's basically the cloud infrastructure. That's called IAAS, right? So infrastructure as a service, it's a instant computing infrastructure which is provisioned, and you use it. You can monitor it, you can use it through internet connectivity, right? The benefit here you get is not benefit, means it's a feature basically, is that you can scale it up, scale it down, letting you only pay what for you use it, right? Think of an example here that I start my machine, I need one processor machine because that is where my work will be done. And the moment it goes beyond one processor, so I started doing a lot of more work. Cloud gives me a flexibility that now I want one processor and I can increase this machine to 4 processors, because that's where that much processing power I need from the computer, right? So I get that flexibility in the in the cloud, that I can scale up and scale down depending upon the processing power I need from my computing infrastructure, right? It helps you to avoid expense and complexity of buying and managing your own physical server and other data infrastructure, right? It's very easy, right? Think of it, when you're buying something, right? You go to for example, if you are in New Delhi, right, or any other place in the world, in India. See, I'll take an example of New Delhi. If you want a computer, most of the people, we go to Nehru Place, right? That is known as a place where you get buy-in computers, right? It's a computer hub. So you go there, you select which company hardware you want. You want a computer from Dell, you want computer from HP, you want computer from XYZ company. First you decide, you compare, and then you say like, what is the best rate I am getting? Is this computer only hardware or there is an operating system included into it? What is the charge of the operating system? How many years license I have for the operating system? Tomorrow if I get a problem, where should I contact? Who's going to help me with mentoring my computer if it goes wrong? Where I'll get updates for my software? All those you need to figure out, and then you buy that computer. But when you are in the cloud, you come out of all those complexity, because the cloud vendor manages all for you in the back end, right? It has contract with HP, Dell, XYZ company. You don't have to worry about it. It does the buy licenses for you. You don't have to worry about it. You pay for per hour you use, right? Say for example, you're taking a machine and its cost is like $1, right? So you are only worried about paying $1 if you use it for 1 hour, for example. In that $1, cloud provider covers you from all the contracting purposes at the back end, and it takes care of all the heavy lifting from you. All the heavy work, complexity work is taken care by the cloud provider. You as a person, in user of the cloud computing resource, you focus only on using that resource. Okay. Each resource is offered as a separate service component. You only need to rent a particular one as long as you need it. You are renting it. Think it as a renting, right? Remember the electricity example. You're only paying for the time you're using the electricity. After that, you switch off. You don't pay anything for it. That is where cloud becomes such an important thing. Think of you as you're going to run your own company, right? When you're running your own company, you buy a hardware, and now that hardware you have bought, say for example 100 rupee or 1000 rupee, that is lying there on your data center. You use it or you don't use it, but you've already paid money for it, right? But cloud gives you a different flavor. Cloud says that you don't have to make an upfront 1000 rupee payment, right? And you only pay for what you use. So might be you don't need 1000 rupees. You need only your work can be done in 100 rupees. So you only use it for 100 hours, right? Something like that. A cloud computing service provider such as Microsoft Azure manages infrastructure while you purchase, install, configure, manage your own software operating system middleware. Right. So within the computer, when you're developing your application, you're configuring your application, that you take care. But the hardware and other things is already given by the cloud provider to you. Right. This is how three pieces looks like. So in IAAS, uh, data center and physical plant or building is managed by the cloud provider. Networking, firewall security is managed by the cloud provider. Server storage is again given by the cloud provider. So in IAS, you get broadly these three categories. You only pay what you use and you pay per hour, right? Or per second in some services, right? What are the common business use cases? I'm sorry. Okay, let's put a little bit. That's not going there, right? Yeah. What are the common business use cases, right? Number one, you need to do test and development, right? What does that mean is like teams can quickly set up, dismantle test environment and development environment, bringing new application much faster. IAS makes it quick and economical to scale up and down. So if you come from the software industry, you would have gone through it. It gives you an agility, right? Say for example, you want to try some idea, and if that idea doesn't work, right, you can quickly dismantle that idea completely, right? Because you have taken those servers from the cloud and you think that this business is not working, just close it. And you can, that infrastructure gets freed, cloud provider can give that infrastructure to anybody else, or you can use it yourself for somebody else, some other workload. So that cloud gives you that agility, right, to fail fast. You try an idea, and then if that doesn't work, remove it. You try another idea. If it works, great, make it big, right? Web hosting. Running websites using IAS can be less expensive than traditional web hosting. And I think so now by this time you should be able to relate that if you buy anything on premise, it's very costly. right? Because you're paying upfront money, you're using it not, it's totally right. Now, and then when you're running the websites, it's less expensive, right? If you run it on IAS. Storage, backup, and recovery, right? Now, um, organizations, can avoid heavy money, right? You pay for storage and complexity for these storage and management. One sec, I'll just again tell my kids. I'm sorry. Yeah. So storage, backup, recovery, right? They become very easy in cloud, and with especially IaaS, because you know uh, you can store the data as long as you want, right? So it meets your compliance needs, right? uh, Again, IAS can be very useful in handling unpredictable demand, steady growing storage needs. It can also simplify planning and management of backup and recovery systems. So you can think IAS, these are the common use cases which can be used, right? Web apps, right? Web apps is basically like web-based applications, right? So IAS provides you all infrastructure, right, to support your web applications, including storage, web applications, networking. So the web apps is basically a ready-made service, right? So you don't need to write all the pieces of component together. You can provision those services and then quickly deploy in web apps, and then you can scale up your infrastructure, scale it down depending upon the traffic, and you are able to economically balance, right, how much traffic is coming, you scale it up. If traffic is not there, you can just scale it down, right? There are certain type of workloads where you need HPCs, which we call it as high performance computing. Right, it's something like supercomputers, computer grids, where you need immense power of processing, right? Cloud gives you that, right? And think of like if you really want to set up your own HPC, you're going to invest million of dollars into it, and might be you're not using that HPC 24 by 7. You're only using like 2 times a day, and think of the amount of cost you need to put in order to run that HPC. Right. So how much investment you make, how much you're using it, you can make a maths out of it. So cloud gives you that option, because cloud gives you that HPC, and you can use it the amount of time you want, and then you pay for that particular time. I'll give an example where NASA, they have satellite and they get some data from the satellite. They use Microsoft Azure. When the data comes, they need that computational power of like more than 10,000 servers or 20,000 servers, right? They need for processing for a few hours, right? So what they do is, like, the moment data is downloaded, they use these servers, they process that data, and then they release it. Right, so probably say they are running for 4 hours and they're paying only, like, say for example, $100 million for it, right? Might be the processing cost, but they are freeing up that resource, right? Think of this way, that you are having servers which is running, you're using it to the best potential of it, and you're not you're saving money, as well as also you're green, right? You're not wasting energy, right, by running those servers and nobody is using it, right? So it gives a lot of sense to use cloud for such type of workloads, right? And examples include like earthquake, protein folding simulation, climate, weather predictions, financial modeling, evaluating a product design, right? So they need computational power, but they don't need 24/7. They need for some time, and then that machines are free and they can be used by somebody else, right? Big data analysis, right? Big data is basically a popular term used for massive data sets, that when you're churning massive data sets, right? How you can potentially get valuable patterns, trends, associations. Mining such data sets locates, you can get meaningful output out of, means meaningful insights out of it. What are the advantages of IAS? Number one, it eliminates the capital expense and reduces ongoing cost, right? You don't need to upfront pay something and then and keep that money blocked for your company, right? You can IS sidesteps the upfront expense by setting up and managing an on-site data center, making an economical option for the startups and the business testing it. And that is why you see in country like India, there is a lot of startups now which leverages cloud. They don't manage their own data center. Think of companies like Swiggy. Think of company like Zomato, right? The big companies now, right? Uh, but they don't have massive data centers. They all run in cloud, right? Innovate rapidly, right? As soon as you have, improve business continuity and disaster recovery. So you can achieve high availability, business continuity, disaster recovery, right? Since it requires a significant amount of technology and staff, but with right service SLA in place, IS can reduce this cost and access application and data as usual during disaster and outage. So you can design your application to meet your SLA requirements. Innovate rapidly. As soon as you have decided to launch a new product or initiative, the necessary computing infrastructure can be ready in minutes or hours rather than days or weeks, sometimes months it could take to set up internally. So you get that benefit here, that you can use innovate and use cloud to its best advantages, right? Yeah, you don't need to make an upfront capital investment and other things. You respond quicker to shifting business conditions, right? IS enables you to quickly scale up the resources and scale down, right? Think of like Diwali season, where people will be buying a lot of things onto Flipkart, right, or Amazon. So they scale it up and then they scale it down when the season is down. So they all use cloud, right? Focus on your core business. This is what I was telling you when I gave example of that. If you are a CTO for a company, right, IS frees up your team to focus on your organization's core business rather than IT infrastructure. Increase stability, reliability, and supportability. With IS, there is no need to maintain and upgrade software, hardware, troubleshoot equipment. With appropriate agreement in place, the service provider, that means the cloud, assures that your infrastructure is reliable and meets your all SLAs. You get better security with appropriate service agreement. Cloud service provider can provide security to your application and data that may be better than you get on your own, attain in-house, right? You get apps to user faster because you don't need the first to set up the infrastructure before you can develop, deliver apps. You can get them, users faster with IAS, right? So these are what you saw, the some advantages of IAS. Now let's go on PaaS, platform as a service, right? Now, platform as a service is a complete development and deployment environment in cloud with resources that enable you to deliver everything from simple cloud-based apps to a sophisticated cloud-enabled enterprise applications like SAP, right? Or any other application. You can you purchase the resources you need from cloud service provider on pay-as-you-go basis and access them over a secure internet. Like IaaS, PaaS includes infrastructure like server, storage, networking, um, but also the middleware, development tools, databases, and more, right? PaaS is designed to support complex web application lifecycle like building, testing, deploying, and managing, updating. PaaS allows you to avoid the expense of complexity, buying, managing software licenses, underlying infrastructure, middleware. Uh, like you would have heard the term like Kubernetes, right? Which is like AKS, which is a PaaS solution. So a lot of heavy lifting is done for you here. You manage the application and service you develop, and then cloud typically provides, manages everything else for you. So think this as right. Kubernetes is one service which you can think of. Then you have RDS as a service where you can leverage database as a service, right? So if you come back here, so this is the PaaS part. So if you see, this is all encapsulated IAS. So PaaS basically makes use of IAS, right? The hardware, storage, everything is used, but it gives you like developer tools, database management systems, like I told you, like database for MySQL, right? Or say Microsoft SQL Server, right, as a managed service offering. And then operating system, right? So operating systems, so this all is included into PaaS, right? So what are the common PaaS scenarios? Organizations typically use PaaS in these scenarios, like development framework, right? So PaaS provides a framework that developers can use to build, develop, customize applications. Similar the way like you get an Excel macro, PaaS lets developer to create applications using built-in software. So it gives you a framework, like and a lot of heavy lifting of infrastructure is already encapsulated into it, right? So it becomes much easier for you to use, and then you don't need to do that heavy lifting for yourself. Analytics of business intelligence. These tools provide a service with PaaS allows organization to analyze, mine their data, find insights, and predict outcomes. One of the examples is like, right, if PaaS services could be, I think of like you want to get data, right, from on-premise and other. So you need a software to do that, like Azure data services, right? ADS can be used where you can, it's a graphical tool. You need to just connect the connectors, and then they can automatically go and talk to the relevant data store and pull that data and get it into for you. And then you can use multiple tools for finding insights and patterns. It can be used for predicting outcomes, for improving forecasting and other things. Additional PaaS services also offers like workflow directory, like Microsoft AD, Active Directory is another PaaS service, right, which gives you the directory services. What are the advantages you get of a PaaS, right? By delivering infrastructure, once. Sorry. So by delivering infrastructure as a service, PaaS offers the same advantages of IAM, but it adds additional features, right? Like middleware, development tool, and other business tools. You can give you more advantages, like cut down coding time, right? PaaS development tools cut down the time it takes to code a new app with pre-coded application component. Means it gives you a lot of components where you don't need to build from the beginning, right? So it's already encapsulated for you. Add development capabilities without adding staff. So you're actually improving, like, you're not adding a staff, right, to develop that, because that module is already there. You just drag and drop it, and then you start using it. Develop multiple platforms, including mobile, more easily, because all those modules are there. You need to just take those modules, integrate it into your main application. Right. Use sophisticated tools affordably. All right, since cloud gives you that availability, cloud gives you that power, right, to use those software for pay for what you use. Means you're not buying them forever, right? You're only using for 10 hours, so you use it for 10 hours, pay the license cost for 10 hours, to the cloud provider, and then you're done, right? You support geographically distributed development teams, then efficiently manage application life cycle. So that's what the PaaS gives you. That it it is a top layer on something on top of what you already get on PaaS, right? Coming next is what is SaaS, software as a service, right? Now, software as a service allows users to connect to and use cloud-based apps over internet, right? A common example is our email, calendaring, office tools such as Microsoft Office 365. This is the best example which you can think of a SaaS, right? It's basically you as an application, you're a consumer of it, right? Think it this way. So SaaS is already a software which is running on the cloud. You're just consuming it. So the provider of the SaaS, right, has done all the hard work of IAS and PaaS for you. He has written code. He's doing everything for you. It's only that you are just consuming that service. Example is like Microsoft Office 365. You're just using it, but at the background, it is taking care of provisioning hardware for you, operating system, then running Microsoft Exchange on top of it, right? Maintaining security, taking backup, giving you 24/7 availability. Everything is taken care by the SaaS provider, right? So SaaS provides a complete software solution that you purchase pay as you go basis from the cloud service provider. You rent the use of an app for your organization, and your users connect to it over internet, usually with a web browser, right? All of other underlying infrastructure, middleware, app software are all located with the service provider's data center, means with the cloud provider. The service provider manages the hardware, software with appropriate service level agreement, will ensure the availability and security of apps, data, as everything, right? It's the job of the SaaS provider. He gives you a guaranteed SLA. He makes sure that your data is safe and secure, everything. SaaS allows your organization to quickly get up and running with an application with minimal upfront cost. Why? Because you don't need any development here. The development is done by somebody else. It's only you start consuming that application. You can think of those applications like SAP ERP applications, Microsoft Dynamics, right? All these are ready-made applications. You just need to start using it, and everything is managed by the cloud provider. Okay. And this is where the SaaS, if you see this boundary, so SaaS includes your PaaS and IaaS. So whoever is giving you application, he is already leveraging PaaS and IaaS, and then giving you a SaaS output application. What are the common scenarios where SaaS can be used? If you have used a web-based email service like Outlook, Hotmail, Yahoo, these are all SaaS forms, right? With these services, you log in into your account over internet, often from a web browser. The email software is located with the service provider's network, and your messages are stored as well. You can access your email and store messages from a web browser to any computer or internet connected device, right? Your mobile and other things. Other examples include ERP, CRM software, and multiple other softwares, right? You pay for the use of these apps by the subscription or according to the level you use for it, right? What are advantages of SaaS you get? You gain access to sophisticated applications. To provide SaaS apps to the users, you don't need to purchase, install, update, maintain any hardware or middleware. SaaS makes even sophisticated enterprise applications such as ERP, CRM affordable to organizations that lack resources to buy, deploy. So it gives you a very easy way. And industry trends, if you see, most of the companies, right, they have started giving SaaS offerings. You go to SAP, one of the ERP providers, you go to Microsoft Dynamics ERP providers or CRM providers, they all give SaaS offerings. They understand that today company doesn't need to have their own data center. They buy license, they deploy it, and then they use it. They can just take a SaaS subscription and start using it. And the advantage you get, you pay only for what you use. Use free client software. Your users can run most SaaS applications directly from the web browser. So and most of the web browsers like Internet Explorer or Edge or say Chrome or Firefox, they're all free, right? You don't pay money for them to use it. Right, so that's what it says, that you can use web browsers without needing to download, install any software. And this means that you don't need to purchase any or install any special software to use it, because these are all browser based applications. Okay, then you mobilize your workforce easily, right? Since it's a SaaS, and your workforce could be anywhere in the world, right? They can start leveraging it. They can use it wherever they are from, right? They're working from. So a carefully chosen service provider will ensure security of your data regardless the type of device it is consuming. And that's the area you should also look. That whenever you are making such decisions to invest into IAS, you need to also make sure that are you safe and secure when you're using it. There are multiple tools available now in cloud which make sure that your end devices are secured properly. There is no tampering of to when you're actually connected to the enterprise, right? So there are multiple software which make sure that you are safe and secure. Then you can access apps data from anywhere. With data stored in the cloud, users can access the information from anywhere in right, internet connected computers or mobile devices. And when app data is stored in the cloud, no data is lost if a user's computer or device fails. Right. Now, this brings me to another, I wanted to also continue with this thought process. Like when you say cloud provider, so right, Microsoft Azure is one of the cloud providers. So I just wanted to give a little bit introduction to it. So Microsoft Cloud, which is called Azure, right? It's there in more than 63 regions across the globe, right? So that's what it says. It's global in nature. So we have in India, we have in Singapore, we have in US, Australia. We name the location, we have most majority of locations in the world. Second, it is secure, right? So for example, in Microsoft, there is Microsoft Cyber Defense Operations Center. What it does is there are more than 3,500 full-time security professionals, right? Managing, monitoring the environment, right? To make sure that the cloud is safe and secure, right? They see roughly around 6.5 trillion global signals daily. And Microsoft invests a heavy amount to make sure that security is topmost priority. And data is secure into the cloud, right? So it's like 1 billion annually spent into the cyber security. Microsoft Azure has a 90 plus, compliance certifications. So you name the industry, you'll find majority of them. Those certifications are like common certifications are like GDPR and others, right? So they're all there. So if you want to run your workload into Microsoft Azure, you get that opportunity, right? So, security is a foundation for this global, Microsoft Azure footprint. And when we think about security, it starts with operational excellence, from physical security to operational security at a global cloud fabric, right? Like when I say cloud fabric is like, think of like Microsoft Office running on the cloud and Azure, right? And if you see, like each physical data center is protected with world-class multi-layered protection, right? For example, sorry. Go back. Yeah. For example, to enter a server environment, for example, if a person would have to pass through multiple physical security, right? How the data is secure. He has to pass through physical security layers. and provide multiple form of identification. So if you want to go into the data center, right, they would be also scanned for metal in their pocket to make sure that they are not bringing any device, right, which they can steal information. So there is a great deal of physical security in place that we do on behalf of all our customers, right, in our cloud, and make it possible that our customers to really leverage the investment they have done, right, that we have made in that respect. So we take care of security very seriously, right? There is a, sorry, there are over 160 data centers across the planet, secured, restricted access, 24 by 7 monitoring, global security. So that's how security is in the cloud, right? Also, there are multiple programs which can be leveraged to make sure that, if you're using Microsoft Azure for, building your application as one of the cloud providers, right? There are other cloud providers also, but we're just talking about Azure right now. You get tools, right? You want to learn something about cloud, you got digital resources. You want to move a particular, say for example, workload which is running in your data center, right, you can move it to Azure with migration tools. Now I know cloud is a learning, and all the skill sets are not there. So if you want to really learn, then there are skilling programs, right, where you go to Microsoft and you can learn courses and then get certified. If you really want to take Microsoft help in order to move an application to the cloud, do a feasibility check. There's a program called Fast Track where engineers from Microsoft come and help you to, evaluate and assess and then move that application to the cloud. Then there are a lot of partners, right? Partners like Tech Mahindra, partners like Infosys, GSI, multiple partners who can actually they know Microsoft Azure. They can help you to take an application, take a look at it, and then help you to move to that to the cloud, right? So reduce your means there are programs which can help you to reduce your cost and risk, accelerate your migration, and then deliver success to you. Right. These are few of the components, right? Gives you a rough idea like what are apps, data, networking, identity. This is not all, but this is just to give you an idea, right? You can use Microsoft Azure. There are more than 200 odd services which can be used in order to develop, design an application which you need, right? Uh, this is a very important thing we should know. So, most of the cloud providers in the industry, like Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google, multiple others, they all have designed something called Cloud Adoption Framework. That means how you're going to adopt Microsoft Azure when you're moving your applications from on-premise to the cloud, right? You need to have a strategy in place. So Microsoft gives you, there's a whole set of documentation around it. Microsoft thinks that if you really want to make a journey to the cloud as a company, right, you need to have the first thing is, you need to have a strategy in place, right? Uh, the strategy is to tell you like why you're going to make movement to the cloud, right? And then you have plan, ready, adopt, and then you have govern, all these stages helping you, right? So this is how just to give you last idea, like a traditional on-premise IAAS platform as a service and software service. So if you see here, in your traditional data center, you manage everything yourself, right? You manage everything yourself from network, storage, server till up. If you go to infrastructure as a service with a cloud provider, you manage all these layers. Sorry, this is managed by the cloud provider, and this is what you manage. If you go to platform as a service, this is what is managed already by the vendor. This is what you manage. And if you go to software as a service, everything is managed. You just are as a consumer of this particular application. Some examples of SaaS is like Microsoft Dynamics, Office 365, SAP, Salesforce, multiple, right? So, right, you got on-premise, right? Now you understand that everything cannot be moved to the cloud. There will be some legacy applications. There will be some application which will have some type of a binding, and it cannot be moved directly to the cloud, right? So what we have seen in the industry is you're going to have a hybrid type of a setup, that some applications will still remain on premise, but majority of the workload will move to the cloud, right? And that is where hybrid approach comes into picture, right? It's basically combination of private and one or more public cloud allows IT organization to become broker service, and self-service automation capabilities provide a new agility, right? So you need to think of creating a cloud strategy for yourself, right? For your company. Step one is you need to develop a vision for your digital transformation, how you're going to transform your work, right? Then step two is you should put priority to your cost and innovation, right? You need to have that balance between yourself. And then you need to also consider the compliance and security, right? Which how you want to protect your IP into the cloud. And then we have seen as a CAF strategy that whenever you are looking to move to the cloud, right? Uh, you need to also look forward for your existing staff, right? How we can enhance them, how we can enable them, so that we can leverage their existing expertise and skills, and transform them with cloud knowledge so that they become more sharper into the cloud world, and they're able to contribute much better, right? uh, so with this is my last slide. uh, Thank you so much. And can we leverage now time to have Q&A? We have 5 minutes. We can leverage this to have, if you have any questions, I'm happy to, address few of those questions. I'm sorry, I thought of making it more interactive, but it didn't happen. But we can make it interactive in next 5 minutes at least.
Yes. Anybody can post your question. CC consumes high energy, sustainable in future. Can we get free access to Azure?
Where is that question? I can't see that question
You
actually.
need to open the chat box, right side.
I'm just trying to do that. One second. Okay, here. One second. Chat. Yes. Uh, yeah, I got it. Yeah. So the first one, when we will get attendance status? Oh, sorry. That's not a question for me. Right. CC. What is CC? Can Prakash, you can ask your question if you can unmute.
Cloud compute.
Okay, CC consumes high energy, emits carbon. From this point of view, CC is sustainable. What is CC? I'm sorry,
Cloud computing. He is talking about cloud.
okay. Okay, my bad. Yeah. So what happens is you're very valid question and very pertinent. Uh, as this world, as this cloud computing is growing, and the number of data centers are growing. So what Microsoft has done is Microsoft has taken a pledge that we are going to go green uh, with our all data centers. We are going to use renewable energy, right? So Microsoft, if you say Microsoft uh, commitment sorry commitment to sustainability. I'm just trying to get, yeah. Can you see this? This is a pledge, right? This is a pledge taken by Microsoft that Microsoft will be carbon negative by 2030. And this is our found, Satya Nadella, right? CEO of the company. Right? So we are very much committed that how we can, emit less carbon and be more carbon green, and use, solar power and other mechanisms. And you will be surprised that, surprised and happy to know that Microsoft is also thinking of, putting data centers into the sea, right? Just to make sure that we don't consume a lot of energy into cooling of those data centers, because maximum amount of energy is spent into cooling data centers, right? So those type of initiatives are into ongoing process. Hope this answers your question. Then Microsoft Azure Education, can we get free access? Yes. So if you go to Microsoft, you go to Azure, right? And the first link you get is get your free account, right? Just click on this, and this gives you a host of free things that what you get as free, right? So if you go and just create whatever email ID you're using, right? It could be Microsoft Live or any other email ID like Google or whatever. You get what you get. You get 12 months free popular services, 13,000 of credit, which will last for 30 days, and 25 plus services always free. You can create your account and you can use it for all your development. What you get it this 750 hours of this particular virtual machine. You get managed disk, you get file storage, everything is there. Just go and enroll yourself into this portal and then start using it. You don't have to pay money for it. Any other question? Feel free to ask, guys. I think so. You should be don't get afraid of asking question. Any question could be a good question.
Thank you, Ajay. It's 1:15 now. Time for lunch.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think so. It was a great pleasure talking to you, and happy to get connected in case you need any. If you have any questions around it, I just put my email ID. You're welcome to ask questions or suggestions if you want. I'll be happy to do that. Just as you introduced in the beginning, I've worked with cloud like AWS, Microsoft, so pretty comfortable with cloud technology. Whenever you have any questions around that, please feel free to get connected, and I'll be happy to give my assistance.
Thank you, Ajay, and thanks a lot. And participants can leave now, and please come back at 2 o'clock.
Okay, thanks so much. Have a great day ahead.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.